There we go.
Now it's working. Hi guys.
Hey everyone, Justin Etherton here with Etherton Real Estate in Austin, Lansing from OnQ Financial. We're going to talk about closing costs with your loan or with when you buy a property, what you need to do for saving for closing costs, what they include, and how to prepare for it. One big thing that I know Austin will go over as well is when you get into escrow and you have a loan, one of the big things you need to do is be saving and preparing for the closing costs. And one thing in particular, which is actually kind of separate, I just wanted to point this out, is don't use your credit card when you're in escrow. Don't go buy a new car, don't go buy new furniture until after you closed on the property, because you don't want to have dings on your credit or too much debt to income ratio because you said, oh, we're going to buy that couch because it's going to go perfect in our new living room ahead of time. So part of closing costs you need to prepare for are the lender fees, the escrow fees, and you need to have also some what they call reserves. So you need to have additional income or money in your account for a few months worth of payment. So I'm going to hand it over to Austin, and she's going to chat a little bit more about what specifically you need to be looking for.
So thanks for the intro. So yeah, there's different sets of closing costs. I like to say there's three of them. There's your loan fees. These are your origination fees. This is underwriting, processing, doc prep, everything that does to get the work done for your loan. And there's also the appraisal fee, and that's considered part of the loan transaction as well. You have title and escrow fees, and those are going to be determined by your contract. Typically here in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, we're seeing that the escrow fee is split 50-50 between yourself and the seller. The buyer pays for the loan policy and the recording charges. The seller pays for the transfer taxes and the owner's title policy. But it's changing. It's different in Northern California. You can negotiate things, but those are all things that are clear in your contract. And the last and the most expensive and most variable part of closing costs are prepaid items. So what are prepaid items? Those are recurring costs of home ownership that you have to shore up at closing. So for example, property taxes, each bill is 6 months. Well, if you own it for 2 months and the seller owns it for 4 months, then you have to divvy that out at closing. You also pay interest from the date of funding on your loan, which is the day before you close, through to the end of the month, so that each mortgage payment thereafter is for 1 month at a time. So you can see if it's the beginning of the month, that'd be different than the end of the month. You also pay for the first year of your homeowner's insurance, if there's HOA dues. So those are a lot of the variables that you don't know quite when you're going in exactly what they're going to be, and that's why we update it throughout the process for you as well. And I just wanted to tag in on Justin's comment about credit cards. There's definitely a lot of do's and don'ts in the process, and of course we like to guide you through those. We literally have a do's and don't sheet. But one of the things you mentioned, because if you have a situation where you've racked up additional debt that wasn't included in your debt to income ratio and now you don't qualify, you may be required to pay that debt off at closing. It's a really important piece. Reserves that he touched on as well, those are the amount of taxes, insurance, HOA, and mortgage and interest, the PITIA as we call it, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, association dues. Those are your monthly payments that you have on hand after closing. It's your just in case money. It's not placed on reserve with the lender. Nobody touches it. It's just got to prove that just in case you can make that payment. So those are a lot of the different numbers that come into play. And as we touched on last time, when you're negotiating different credits, you can use those towards some of the closing costs. Just keep in mind that amount may change a little bit between now and closing.
Yeah. So to recap, or just to give you a real brief
overview.
Well, not even, just to give you a real brief thing to take with you. Escrow fees typically are going to be about 0.1% of the purchase price. Lender fees, or the lender requirements, are going to be 2 to 3 months reserves, 2 to 3 months of payments, so you need to keep that in mind. And those obviously change with the amount of the type of purchase you're doing.
Right.
And then you're going to be looking at around $500-600 for an appraisal fee, and then the loan doc fees are going to be about $1,200 typically per deal. So those are rough numbers for you to keep in mind when hey, we got to purchase property. Can we do 10% down? Do we only need $100,000 on that $1 million property? No, you need the $100,000 plus you need a few more percentage points. So if you wanted to just say probably ballpark it 3%, 2 to 3% of the purchase price, you should be more than covered for your closing costs typically, and that's again a ballpark, so everything can change and everything can be negotiable. So if you have any questions, feel free to give myself a call or Austin Lamson at OnQ Financial, or tag us here in Facebook, and we'd be happy to answer some questions for you. Have a great day. Bye.